Hey guys, the next big question that we always get when we first start talking to folks about building a home is what size home is best for my family? What square footage should I be aiming for? And of course, that's going to be dependent on what size your family is, as far as bedrooms, bathrooms, things like that. So that's up in the air. That's going to be dependent on the house itself and your circumstances. But in general, the one thing that we always talk about is look at the value of square footage. So what square footage is expensive and what's not. What I always tell people is when they're working on plans is don't get hung up on a square footage number. So if you're thinking 2,000 square feet, I want a 2,000 square foot house, no more, no less, it's what I want. Don't do that. That's counterproductive. That's going to lock you into a box that you can't get out of, and it's pointless because empty space is cheap. So if your house is 2,050 square feet, 2,100 square feet, and you wanted 2,000, but you're not adding a bathroom, you're not adding a bunch of fixtures, leave it alone. Empty space is cheap. If it's a living space and you know you're going to use it, it's worth it. If a room is 12 by 12 and you think you're going to make up square footage by cutting it down to 10 by 10, all you're doing is you're making a room smaller than you want, probably smaller than you need, and you're not really saving any money because that 2 square foot on each side you're taking out, that didn't save you much money. It just doesn't. If a house costs $200 a square foot to build, you're not going to remove $200 a square foot by each foot you take out of empty space. It doesn't work that way. So don't get fixated on a number. Pay attention to the things that are bathrooms, fixtures, things like that. If it's just space, leave it alone. Don't get locked onto a space. So what matters to you is what's going to matter to your cost. Things like a 3-car garage, a big wraparound front porch, a big party back porch. Those things are going to cause your cost per square foot to jump way up. Because remember, cost per square foot is on living space only. So a 3rd-car garage, a wraparound front porch, a big party back patio, that's not in your cost per square foot because it's not living space, but you still got to pay for it. So it makes that cost per square foot jump way up. If that space is important to you, if you're going to use that party back patio, if you need that 3rd-car garage, if you want that wraparound front porch because you want the porch swings and all those kind of things, that's all great. If you know you want it, it's worth the money. But understand when you put those spaces in, it's going to take a cost per square foot that seems reasonable. Before you put those things in, it's going to push it way up because you can't offset that with extra living space. So remember that. The big thing to remember is if you're going to use it, it's worth it. If you're not, maybe you want to put that money somewhere else. So when we design a house, when we work with you from beginning to end, we're going to talk about future-proofing a lot. Going to get used to that term if you're working with us. Future-proofing means I want my home to let me age in place. I don't want my home to be something I can't live in 20 years from now, 10 years from now. If I'm being honest, 5 years from now, because I'm getting really old and slow and rickety. So I want to make sure that my house is functional for me as I get older. So what that means is when we're designing your house with you, we're going to look at how do we make the hallways wider? How do we make sure in our master bathroom, our primary bath, that our shower is a potential roll in, roll out? Do we do things like design a set of stairs in the garage, an unfinished set of stairs in the garage that we can access our attic space in so we don't have that pull down stair that God knows I'm going to fall and hurt myself on? I hate pulling down stairs. If I can find a different way to get to my attic space, I want to do it. If we're designing from the ground up, we're going to design it at that time to make it useful for you. So future-proofing is a good thing. It's something that we're going to talk about. It's not required. Again, I'm a custom builder. We'll do what you want, but we're going to talk about those things because, in design, you're focused on size of the master bedroom, size of the living room, kitchen, all the fun things. And it's good to have somebody like us there, a builder who can refocus you on some of those future-proofing things that are just as important. They're not the sexy things, but they're really important so that your house is livable from the time you move in until 30 years later without having to do a whole bunch of knock-down walls, remodel, things like that. Let's build the house today that is functional for you in 30 years.